All right, so today is September the 7th. And the big thing is, like I was saying, September the 7th is Independence Day in Brazil. And as a kid, I remember there used to be a lot of celebration out on the streets, and it was a fun day for me. But today, I don't think anybody remembers anymore, you know. But still, for people like my age, we still think is a date to celebrate, you know, it's something nice, like the 4th of July, you know, it's something to celebrate because it's not like every other regular day. And come on, computer, collaborate. So, and as usual, so let's start with the prayer. And I'd like to say the prayer today. Can you hear the sound? Okay, so let's close our eyes. Calm down our thoughts, our minds. Elevate our vibration as we invite our guides, the mentors of this group, the higher beings, those spirits who, like us, want to learn from these spiritist teachings. Let's take a moment to feel the presence of those friends, the presence of our benefactors of our families, as they send to us their light, their blessings. Just take a moment to feel the peace and the love they share with us right now. Dear Father, we ask for your blessings today for this group and the other members who could not be here with us. And we ask also for the blessing of peace for all countries on this planet. Personally, I ask peace. I ask for good vibrations to Brazil, to the Brazilian people. Being grateful for all of those who did work for this nation and continue to work from both dimensions, physical and spiritual one. But I do also ask for peace and good vibrations for all nations. May we all enjoy peace today for at least a few moments. And as we enjoy that peaceful moments, we try to seek more and more the balance, the peace, respect for one another, until the day we no longer have to ask for peace, because peace will be within our hearts. Stay with us today, tomorrow, and always, Father. And so be it.
So it is.
Okay, so okay, so I would like to share a few thoughts about this, and just a few minutes. But like I said, today, September the 7th, that's the Brazilian Independence Day. And this is a very known, every single Brazilian will know this canvas is huge. It's like natural size thing. And over here, you can see at that time, the emperor of the Brazil back in 1800s. And this is this guy, his name is Dom Pedro I or Peter the First. And even though he was born in Portugal, but his family moved or relocated to Brazil when Napoleon invaded France, and then, invaded Portugal, Spain, and such. So Napoleon was after the royal family, and they fled to Brazil. And this guy, Peter the First or Pedro I, Pedro the First, he was young. He was very young. So in short, Brazil was really his nation because he grew up like in a very, very free, out in the woods, out on the streets. And Brazil was then very, all those cities, they were very small, not a whole lot to offer compared to Europe. But I can only imagine an amazing place to be for a child. So he loved that land with all his heart. So when the royal family decided to go back to Europe, he decided to stay. He stayed behind because, one, the royal family, they wanted to secure their position, but also he loved that place and he wanted to stay. He decided to stay. So that's what this canvas is about. So he decided to stay, and few other events happened when he decided during a trip around the country. He heard about some events happening in Europe, and he was not happy with it, so he decided to split Portugal and Brazil for good. So from that moment and on, Brazil and Portugal has nothing to do, independent, even though same family, but completely independent nations. And but the thing is, this is not about history, but the thing is, in one of the books from Chico, we became aware that actually this guy, one of his incarnations, he was a Roman soldier, and he was exactly the guy that, was there checking if Jesus was alive, or what happened to that guy on the cross. So his name, the Roman Londino, that was his
Longinus.
Yeah,
Yes.
Longinus. I think that's how you say. We say
Yeah.
Longinus in Latin. And so there are lots of things about this guy later on, but after lots of years, centuries, I would say thousands of years, so 1,000 years, then he decided to do something, and one of those one of his incarnations post this moment was exactly as Peter the First, and that was all a plan that was actually outlined or designed in the spiritual realm, and that was all about how to get those messages, those teachings, those lessons, and loving message, and that came with Jesus all the way from Asia, and then to Europe, and then Spiritism with Allan Kardec, and then Brazil. So it was necessary, all those movements, these movements right here, everything that happened in the history of the country was very necessary, not exactly the way that it happened, but all those elements needed so we could house Spiritism in that nation. All those elements that were very necessary. And in fact, as you read this book, the interesting thing is, and it's so unfortunate, this book I don't think is translated yet. The name of this book is Brazil, Heart of the World, Nation of the Gospel. So, and then it says exactly, what the plan was and how it happened, how it was planned, and how it was executed. And evidently, because it was executed by people and being so imperfect, evidently we messed up. But the thing is, the main goals, they were achieved. And that's how Spiritism almost died in France, but didn't die in Brazil. As a matter of fact, it was, bloomed. It was the opposite. And as we learn history, we can never understand, how on earth all those, but small things, small acts here and there, and then you see all the plans, all the facts getting together, and then you have the so one of the things, for example, they brought the African people. It was very unfortunate that we brought the African people the way that we did, but it was in the plan that those guys, they would relocate to Americas anyway, because one of the things that they had as contribution to Spiritism is exactly the practice of mediumship in their religion, in their faith. So it was the element that was missing. So Spiritism would become so big deal in Brazil as it is today. So that's one of the things. The other thing that is I like to remember, I was preparing this, and then I received on my phone, this. Oh, sorry, Hyacinth, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
So I received this note in my phone saying, "Save life, give blood." And I thought it was very neat. It was so cool the way that they did, because they sent this: "Remember the positive feeling you felt when you last donated blood." And they said, "Yes, I do." And then I said, "Okay, so it's time for you to go back again and donate." So I just want to share this as well, because I thought it was amazing the way that they did. It was very neat and very smart. So I like to share the same thought. Go ahead, Hyacinth.
Oh, just to go back to Longinus,
Yes,
and the
Longinus.
blade.
Uh-huh.
The blade is in the museum here in Vienna.
One of them, yes.
No, but there's a note saying this could not be the blade because the metal of this blade was not invented at the time. So,
Yeah, that's what I said. There are, I think, 7 or 9 blades out there, but you know, faith is faith. You really do not need the real thing, you know, to believe.
There are
I don't
many,
know.
sorry, there are many religious
Relics.
relics in Vienna.
Mhm.
And the question is, how come? And that is because
Yeah.
when it was the Holy Roman Emperor and people wanted to visit, they gave a relic because that was the most appreciated thing.
Yes. So who gave the relics
I
to
don't
whom?
know who gave it. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so chapter 1, spirits and spirit hierarchy, is the topic. Last time we were talking about this question: are all spirits equal, or is there spirit hierarchy? And the question, there are varying degrees according to the level of purification that they have attained. And the next question: is there a set number of orders or degrees of purification among the spirits? And we saw the graph, right? So we saw the graph showing, you know, the orders and classification, but evidently the number is unlimited because there is no marked line between the different degrees of elevation. There are no fixed or arbitrary divisions among spirits. There may be a greater or lesser number of orders, depending on the point of view from which they are contemplated, and so forth. So, and this is the order that we were talking about last time. What I like about this order is how they associate the orders with the world category. So the third order, or imperfect spirits, they are between primitive and triune atonement. And then second order, you know, the worlds above trial and atonement. And once again, this is only a suggestion for educational purpose only. By no means Kardec is saying this absolute. So next question is, do second order spirits only desire good, or do they also have the power to accomplish it? Do second order. So let's go back to second order over here. So we are talking about second order is those guys, the prudent guys, the benevolent, you know, those wise, superior, those are the ones. So do they only desire good, or do they also have the power to accomplish? Any guess? So that power is proportionate to their degree of perfection. Some are distinguished by their scientific knowledge, others by their wisdom and kindness. Despite this, it is necessary for all of them to experience trials still. Right? So, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that you really know how to apply the laws, right? So questions or comments? Uh, are all third order spirits essentially bad? No, because those are us, and we know that we are not that bad. So no, some are neutral, not doing any good or bad. In contrast, others take pleasure in wickedness, and are delighted when they find an opportunity to do wrong. Others may be flippant or mischievous rather than malicious. They amuse themselves by perplexing the human beings on whom they are able to act and annoying them for their own pleasure. So, Gloria, please.
I'm in another group, and we talked about this, and we think that they're on this side and the other side.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, because tricksters come through sometimes in readings and in trance presentations, and they're not who they say they are. They're goofing around.
Yes.
For whatever reason. So yeah, very
exactly. And that's
go ahead.
And that's what the spiritist centers, they are most concerned about. That's why they emphasize the training for the mediums, the classes, because they don't want their mediums to be deceived by one of those guys. They want to make sure that their mediums know exactly how to deal with these guys, or, not close, but identify them and say, no, you are not welcome here, or I'm not doing anything in partnership with you, or just, kind of keep them away. But so, for example, I know before you do practice mediumistic meetings in the Spiritist Center in Brazil, you have to have like 2 to 3 years training before you start sitting in a circle, for example. And once you will start, you don't do anything. You just watch. You just learn from the others, the most experienced folks, until the day you can actually practice mediumship yourself, like in the inner circle meetings. So, because it is that, like, can you imagine? So, for example, if sometimes we meet other folks in the office, at school, and sometimes we miss, or we how can I say, we kind of are caught by surprise because we do not foresee who they are or what exactly their intentions are. Sometimes we just, right? So, and we are talking about experiences between incarnated people. It's so easy to be deceived by other folks, not moved by good intentions. Now, can you imagine if you were talking to a spirit, somebody that you cannot see, you do not know, you have no means to check on that spirit's, intentions? So it's that hard to understand and to identify who is a good spirit for you to work on with, or who is a good spirit for you to help. Sometimes that guy is just goofing you, doesn't need or want your help, is just, causing you to lose time. It's hard. So Gloria, can I have you reading this?
Sure. Spirit hierarchy. 100. Preliminary observation. Spirits are classified based on the degree of their advancement, the qualities they have acquired, and the imperfections they still possess. This classification is by no means absolute. It is only a summary of the typical character of each category, for each flows seamlessly into the one immediately above it. Specific characteristics of the successive categories blend into one another as is often the case in nature, as seen in the colors of the rainbow and in the phases of human life. That makes sense.
Yeah.
We should also never lose sight of the fact that spirits, just like physical beings, can be very unaware. We can never be too careful in believing that all spirits know everything simply because they're spirits. Yeah.
And that is really I love Kardec because of that, you know. It's not because you have a spirit, a manifestation in that person or that whoever who is talking to you will know everything or is aware of everything. It is exactly someone like us. If that person was lost, it will continue to be lost because, you know, there's no way, if you do not educate yourself, if you do not put a lot of effort to know yourself, to improve yourself, there's no other way to get better or, you know, to clear your mind. Hyacinth, please.
Yes, not all spirits are in the top level.
Absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Okay, please, Claudia.
Using this table, it is easy to determine the superiority or the inferiority of the spirits with whom we may communicate, and consequently the respect and confidence to which they are entitled. Determining these points is a key to Spiritism, as by enlightening us regarding the intellectual and moral inequalities of spirits, it can explain the inconsistencies presented by spirit communications. We have, however, remarked that spirits do not always belong exclusively to one specific class, as their progress is only accomplished gradually. They may display the characteristics of several categories, a fact that is easily reconciled by scrutinizing their language and their actions.
See? Yeah. I will not mention names and I will not say where or who, but in a huge event, the big meeting, we had somebody very known to this audience saying they were doing some experiments and they had their mediums, they had like a panel of mediums. Being the main medium, somebody who was, by the way, channeling Michael Jackson. And Michael Jackson at that time, he was like, I don't know, he died less than a year or something, you know, at that time back in the day. And I thought to myself, there is no way someone like this guy, you know, with he had his troubles, his issues, etc. And evidently the way that he died at the young age, etc. He was not, it's not possible that he was in condition to be in a circle meeting channeling nice or, you know, elevated messages. Like, if I die today, do not expect me to show up in a circle meeting in 6 months or 1 year, because I will be still trying to get used to my new condition, to my new status. So assuming that I die today, like in peace, completely peace. Now, take someone dying in a way that he was not happy, he was depressed, and, you know, come on, guys, just give that spirit some time to adjust, to learn about the new condition, about the new reality, etc., to, you know, bring some clarity to mind before saying anything, right? So in a circle meeting. So yeah, there are lots of spirits, golfing mediums out there. Okay, so we don't need to read all of that. If you want, I can send this. It's just, you know, what we have in the spirits book, and he's just talking about some of a little bit more information on those orders. But one thing that I would like to do is this. So for example, for the second order, good spirits, something that Kardec is mentioning is under exceptional circumstances, those spirits from the second order, the good spirits, they may incarnate on earth to accomplish a mission of advancement or development, and they show us the ideal perfection to which they can hope to attain on earth. So we are talking about Mother Teresa and up, right? So those guys, they're really top. I mean, other category. And the first order, then the book is saying, you know, that they call pure spirits and they live, like these spirits have climbed every rung of the ladder of progress and have shed all the impurities of matter. As they have reached the sum of perfection that can be achieved by created beings, they no longer experience trials or tribulations. No longer subject to reincarnation, they enter eternal life in the immediate presence of God. They enjoy permanent happiness because they are no longer subject to the wants of variations of material life. This happiness is not the tedious idleness of perpetual contemplation. Forget about the guy sitting on the throne, on the chair. They are God's messengers and ministers, the executors of God's will in maintaining universal harmony. So they are in constant work, maintaining harmony or creating new universes. They exercise independent control over all inferior spirits. Can you imagine? We are a piece of work for all the other beings. We are the ones keeping them busy. So they exercise independent control over all inferior spirits, aid them in accomplishing their purification, and assign each of them a mission for their progress. So we keep them busy. In a short, we are the ones keeping them busy. We are their work, their assignment. Okay, so progression of, sorry guys, any comments here you were reading? Very good. Okay, so progression. Are spirits good or bad by nature, or are the same spirits made better by the force of their own efforts? Are some spirits created good and other bad? What do we think?
I kind of think that we must choose before we are born.
I like that answer, yes.
I can't think that the Creator would deliberately make good and bad.
Otherwise, it would not be a benevolent creator,
No,
right?
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I think what we choose, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So one thing we know, we are all created equal. So as equal, we are not good or bad. We just go by experience. And then, but we know we do have the free will to choose which way we go. Some of us, we are kind of lazy, so we want the shortcuts. So the answer is the same spirits are made better through their own efforts. So we have to work, right? They rise from a lower to a higher order as they improve. So meaning we do need to work on ourselves. And then the other one is God created all spirits simple and unaware, meaning lacking all knowledge. God has given them each a particular mission to enlighten them and help them gradually reach perfection through the knowledge of the truth and rise closer to Him. In that perfection, they will find eternal bliss without any troubles. Spirits acquire knowledge by experiencing the trials inflicted by God. When over here, trials inflicted by God, this is me. I believe this is more like that's the law of nature, like cause and consequences. It's not God inflicting us anything. We are just facing the consequences of our own doing.
Exactly.
So while some accept these trials with resignation and arrive at their destiny more quickly, others are defiant and remain far from the perfection and happiness promised to them through no fault other than their own. So comments or no? It makes sense to me. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I like that too, Debbie. So, oh, yeah, I got this backwards. So God created, that's one thing, is God created all spirits simple and unaware, meaning lacking of all knowledge. And then Allan Kardec, he has this comment on that answer. According to this statement that God created all spirits simple and unaware, spirits are like children when they are born, unaware and without experience. However, gradually they acquire the knowledge that they lack by experiencing the different phases of human life. So, yes, that is a fair comparison. Rebellious children remain ignorant and imperfect. How much they benefit depends on their obedience. A person's life has an end, while that of spirits extends beyond infinity. Yeah, Heisen.
Well, you know that I have experiences with St. Stephen, who spoke through somebody. I told you about it.
Yes.
And well, he said that babies are born with all knowledge and they forget as they grow into this life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So this is talking about reincarnation, right? So we have the knowledge. We evidently we know a lot of things. We know what we experienced before, but we have the benefit of wiping off the memory so we can fulfill our mission over here without the memory that perhaps could lead us to failure. So, for example, if I killed my son in the past life, and if I know this right now, oh my goodness, that guilt, that feeling of being guilted kill me, you know. I mean, it's not a good thing. So.
And something else they said, that if you remembered what you did in your past life, it would be disastrous.
Yeah.
Because in a past life, we have done some pretty horrible things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we're good and bad. So
good and bad, yeah. Good, you could be like vain, you know, I don't know. You could feel like, okay, so I did this and it was awesome. And bad, no, I don't think it's, I just don't want you to know. Move on. And so progression of spirits, do any spirits remain in the lower ranks forever? Evidently not, right? And why not? They all eventually become perfect, right? So it is our destiny. We are destined to be light one day, no matter what. They change over the course of time, no matter how long the process may take. As we have already explained, a just and merciful Father cannot condemn his children to eternal banishment. Do you presume that God, in his infinite goodness and divine justice, is less kind than you?
yes,
If we...
yes, I absolutely agree. I will not accept this banishment to burn in hell forever. That I absolutely throw out. And I will tell that to the highest priest who says so. That's not God.
I say that my belief, this is me, I don't believe we have eternal flames. I don't believe we have flames. Because really, the reality we live that is the reality we create. So if I live in hell, when I go to the other side, guess where I will live? That's going to be my reality. So that's why it's so important when they say when the spirits, they say, know thyself. So you know your shadows, you know what concerns you, you know anything about you that could lead you to live guilt or live in fear, live in whatever. So that's another thing that they say, know everything that makes you feel happy. Because then you will know exactly how to react when you feel sadness, when you feel depressed. So in this life or next life or in the spiritual realm, then you know, okay, so this is not a good thing for me. Let me seek something else that will eventually cause me to feel a little happier. But I don't believe in eternal flames. I don't believe in flames. They're all here. They're all creation of our mind. Can the spirits regress? Can we?
I don't know.
Like if you go to the school today, you will start a new class. What happens if you fail the class? You start all over, right? But you do not go back to the previous stage of the class. You never go backwards. You can only move forward, right? So that's the school. Why would life be different? Go ahead, Giles.
One size does not fit all. Everything is possible in spirit. If you have unrepentant, selfish people who keep doing it and keep doing it, I have read that they can be actually undone and put back to spirit parts, and because they are unrepentant and unchanging, and so one size does not fit all. So can spirits regress? Yes, is the answer. Does it happen often? No, very rarely. But saying that that making a law about it, just like the spirit classification, it's okay, you can make the law, but it doesn't mean it's always true. Certain things can happen. As anybody who's been on a farm watching lambing season, when the lambs are born, will know that things don't always go according to plan. Anyway, that's enough.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I politely disagree. Because if I learn something, there is no way somebody will take that learning from me. So, and that's the perspective of the question. Can you unlearn? Can you undo? Can you be uncreated once you are created? I understand that we can be stubborn for a long time, but I cannot see how I can unlearn something that I learned. So that's what the answer is, you know. They learn what has impeded their progress as they advance. When the spirits finish a trial, they learn the lesson of that trial and never forget it. They may remain stationary, but they never regress. And sorry guys, because of that, I say I don't believe in fallen angels. Because if you got to that point of perfection, you cannot go backwards. So, Hyacinth, please.
Yes, again, I don't know, but I think that when you are born into a new life, you have made a contract. This is what you want to accomplish. But you don't remember it. And so you have to live it. And so you may or may not succeed.
Yes.
And some people remember, because now we are hearing a lot of people who can remember a past life or remember, and they do it. But I think it must be very individual.
Yeah.
Because some will reach the top.
But you know what, based on my experience, so for example, I do remember a few things. So I do remember some moments, not the entire life, but I do remember some moments that caused me fear, for example. Well, if that feeling is detrimental to me and I run the risk of failing my mission this time because of something that should not be here, or I should not keep in my mind or in my heart, then they give us the opportunity to remember so you can get over it. So I remember one, but again, it is about free will, because I remember one of the moments that I remember when I was trying to do my work, and I was in this industry. It was a plant, industrial plant, and I was climbing this stair. It was a very, very tall equipment, and it was so tall that with the wind we were like moving a little. And when I looked down, I stopped. I was like frozen. I could not go. I had no idea back then that I have this in my life, that I didn't like being in the very elevated places. So I did move from that place, because a friend of mine, she was in front of me. She was climbing the stairs, ahead of me. When she saw, she noticed, then she guided me to a safe place. So when I was back home, I was very concerned, because, my professional life and what I do professionally is holy to me, because it is from there that I take my living, that I do everything in my life. So I remember thinking to myself, saying, no, this cannot be. I really need to go to elevated places, because it's part of my job, and I want to perform my job well. So this cannot be there. I do not know what that is, but I'm sorry, it cannot be, just, And I remember a few weeks later, I was taking shower. Actually, it was nothing. I didn't do anything. I was just taking shower, and I remember what happened. I was still feeling bad for that day. I was trying to do my job, and I was not able to. And I was just quiet, and all of a sudden, that memory came to my mind, and I remember the bathroom just disappeared, and I was in this jungle. I didn't realize it was me. I just saw in front of me this jungle, all green, all green. And when I saw like a spear and an arm just like this, doing this movement. And then I noticed the arm was the color of my skin, was like black. It was not, my skin. And then I realized it was me running. So I was running, and running, and all of a sudden I stopped at the edge of a cliff. There was nowhere to go. It was very elevated place, and somebody just did that to me, and everything disappeared. I swear, from that moment and on, it's not that I'm not afraid of altitude, but I never was impeded to do my work again. I can go, I do things, I have respect of elevated, when it comes to altitude, to elevated places, but I do not stop. I do not freeze anymore. So I think the spirits, they allow you to remember if that is going to be a good thing for you, if that will help you somehow to execute or perform your life, your mission. Okay, so any other comment or nope? Next question is, could God exempt the spirits from the trials that they must still undergo in order to reach the highest rank?
Why would he exempt anybody?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
all,
sorry. There is no special child, right? We are all the same. Well, the answer. If they had been created perfect, they will not have merited the enjoyment of such perfection. Where would the merit be without struggle? Besides, the inequality that exists between the spirits is necessary to develop their personality and the mission that each spirit accomplishes at each step of their progress is part of God's plan for ensuring the harmony of the universe. Let me see. Yeah. So, sorry guys, no special child. We all have to do work for ourselves.
I would say to God, not fair.
Agree. So guys, it's 4 o'clock here in Houston. I need to stop here because I need to help someone who asked me for a favor. But I hope to meet you all next Saturday then.
Thank you.
You guys have a wonderful weekend, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks,
you.
Anna.
Bye.
Good to see
Thank you,
everybody.
Anna.
Bye, Carol.
Bye.
And bye,
Take care.
Vladimir. Nice to
Be
see
safe.
you.